To extend the vMotion across data centers, you need to ensure that you have the same subnet sort of stretched across the network. The reason why you want to do that is the vMotion by definition is keeping the same IP address of the VM. And the VM may be in communication with other VMs within the particular subnet. So by able to continue to provide that extension is important so that you don't break anything when you move. The last thing we want is I've moved my VM and everything else breaks. It's practically useless. So we want to make sure that this extension is available to do that. And another thing you need to look at is routing. So what happens if the VM is moved? How does the traffic get to the VM, and how does the VM communicate out back to the network? So some of the typical or the basic requirements of any solution like this would be you want to have HA, so no single point of failure, no device failure, or no link failure, causing problems. You want to be, since you're stretching across potentially a large network, large distance, the infrastructure could be potentially expensive. So you want to be able to fully use the bandwidth that is available. You don't want to have blocking links, for example, to cut down your performance, as well as not using the available bandwidth. The other things is obviously if you're, most people think, okay, now I stretched my VLAN across. Do I now have a spanning tree spanning across the whole thing? So today, if you stretch it across, it does there, and so we have some solutions to do spanning tree isolation and avoid broadcast trumps and things like that. And we'll talk about some of the things that we're looking at in the future, which will help you to avoid that also. Again, routing optimization is something we need to look at. Additional services that you may need, for example, it's encryption. One thing is to say, I'm able to move it, but now you're going over public cloud, so you may have to worry about protecting your data through encryption. The other thing is if you have a sub-rate service, typically WAN interfaces, you may need a hierarchical QoS feature so that the vMotion doesn't break. You have sort of quality of service for the vMotion. Another thing is WAN acceleration. Today, let's say I can move the VM, actually a regular solution was without WAN acceleration. We wanted to show the base case so that you at least, most people may not have WAN acceleration. So if you have WAN acceleration, that's another additional thing that you can add on there. It will probably accelerate some of the motion of the network. So again, there are we talked about LAN extension and other things. Other things you need to worry about is I have a services that is attached to a specific VM in the local data center. For example, you have a firewall service, a load balancer service, other kinds of service. When I move across to the second data center, how does it work? This is a live migration. The users are talking at the same time as you're moving. So you need to have a facility ability to have the same policies on both sides. And other thing again is the routing. How does the user